to get back at them.
And I will use oil.
Who will Marty nominate for eviction? And who will win the power of veto? Find out Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern.
To get back at them.
Hello and good evening. It is Monday, April 4th, 2022, and we just finished watching the 15th episode of Big Brother Canada 10, which was the Week 6 HOH nominations. And it was a bit of a recap, too, from the last Thursday's double eviction. I'm Dave Mader here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting, joined with co-host Jaemeel Robinson to break this episode down for you. Jaemeel, how are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing this episode to get back at them.
We'll get back at them.
To get back at them.
Joined, of course, with my brother Jeff Mader coming in here.
Started already. Hi.
Yeah, we're a minute in.
What's up? But my boy Marty, he's hot. He's a hot mess.
Did you just show up right now to get back at us? Get back.
To get back at them.
To get back.
Get back at them.
He sounds like what I would imagine like the was it the Plains of Abraham when the French are like, we must take Quebec back. Like it was kind of yeah. He was very passionate. I loved it. But
yeah.
you know what? He does all the hard work well, and all the I wouldn't say easy, but like, it's just talking.
Right.
As far as very bad. Like he's really good at these competitions. He beat out all those young guys who are all super athletic.
Hula hoop competition.
At toss in a ring, at ring toss, basically.
Ring toss.
It's literally a carnival game.
Business B got to the 6th round. I'm just saying.
She beat out Gino and a bunch of other people. Like
she was the last remaining girl, and then it was just like I was surprised. Like I thought this would be easier. Jacey-Lynne was good at it. I think she just kind of screwed up the one round or whatever.
And then this whole vote, this whole like double eviction vote, Jeff, that they recapped from Thursday, like the chaos where it was we see like it was Kevin, Helena, Betty, Josh, and who's the fifth? Marty. Right? They were going to vote out Gino in the instead of Jess on Thursday. And ultimately, they got cold feet here. There wasn't enough eye contact, enough communication between those five people.
Pulled out. That's what happened.
Betty, yeah, because like where people were sitting during that double eviction seemed to really drive things, Jaemeel, in terms of where we saw like people vote. And like Betty was like so nervous about this idea of blindsiding Gino in a vote and to vote him out.
Betty's mental thought process was akin to Marty's bodily language because he was looking down.
Right. Yeah. But is that Marty's fault? Would you place blame on Marty for playing poorly sort of in that double eviction atmosphere? And like that's not how you do things because he was
honestly I think it worked out better.
It worked out better for who?
For everyone involved, because if it was a 5-4 vote, Jessica going out versus a 7-2, right?
Right.
You can kind of move the shells around where people can like calm down, as we kind of saw a little bit, right? But if it was 5-4, Gino's like literally like Marty would have immediately flipped like he did, right? Yeah. And went to Gino. And would have confessed everything. And what would Kevin have to say? What would Betty have to say? Helena have to say? Josh have to say? They wouldn't be able to have any wiggle room whatsoever. So it worked out. If the vote didn't go, right? 7-2 is better than 5-4.
Right. And ultimately, this comes down, this whole episode is a Marty focus, really. Like, not just the fact that he's the HOH, but that's obviously a big part of it. But the fact that he was in this discussion, the way they they were going to do this vote to get Gino out. And then ultimately it breaks down here for a bunch of reasons. And then there's like this later on, there's this whole meeting in the bedroom where Gino confronts these 5 people about what they agreed to vote. And like, it was like, why does Gino have so much power over these 5? But that's
because Marty.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and like, they're all lying about it. And of course, Marty and Helena were ultimately the 2 that voted to vote Gino out instead of Jess, and they're lying through their teeth. Ultimately, like, Marty will confess later in the episode, but it's just like that whole thing was crazy. Betty, like, just Betty, like, alone. Like, we can talk about
blaming Betty.
We can talk about Marty's messy, but Betty is just like a whole
Marty
other...
didn't even wait till the paint dries. He immediately pulls Jacey-Lynne into the pantry and goes and names everyone. Like, bro.
Right. No, it's not Betty. That's not Betty's fault, but just in terms of where it goes, like, from there, because I think that Betty is not the coolest under pressure. You know, she's business B, and she's coming. Jeff, we got to talk about Marty. Your boy in the draft.
Disappointing you. I think Jacey-Lynne has a better chance at this point.
Right. Especially after tonight. This ending was not a good episode for Marty in terms of the ending, because now, like, they're hearing him from downstairs screaming, and Kevin's just like, calm down. It's okay.
Slamming his hand.
And then they look in cameras and say, well, I swear on my parents and my life, I never voted. No, because I got Marty to do my dirty work for me. That's what happened right now. It's okay.
It's okay.
I love the way he said, that's what happened right now. You can tell he's really upset.
That's what happened right now.
I think, all right, here's the thing. Let's break down the Marty thing a bit. I think it has to do with the fact that him and Helena both said in this episode, Dave and Jaemeel, that they're not really cut for this game. They basically both had that sentiment in this episode, that basically their conscience gets the better of them. Helena's doing a better job of it, but it's really affecting her having to be in this middle spot to really be an agent. And those are the players that usually win the game, like the players that end up in that middle area that can really maneuver well. And you just have to recognize who the other maneuverers are and get those people out.
So Josh is probably one of those people, right?
Right. And so is definitely Kevin. And you just have to, like, look at who are the people in the best spots in the house. And those are your biggest competition. And you have to just kind of whittle down the majority of the house and then go after those people, you know, because you need votes. But at the same time, like, Helena, okay, it was very interesting this episode because Helena and Marty were both on the wrong side of the vote. They both have consciences about lying, especially about, you know, whether or not what happened, or did they vote for Gio? Were they involved in basically it would have taken 5 people, right? And that was the one thing I didn't understand about Gino. You know, like, did you not realize that they were trying to flip the house? And then you have to also think about who the other 3 votes were that didn't vote. You know, they switched their vote at the last second. Like, that's very possible. That is what happened here. And you know,
and why are those better? Like,
why is
Gino?
And like, it's interesting, like, yeah, exactly.
Like, Betty didn't come away look like, not like, I know it was initially Marty who set it all on fire, but ultimately, like, they all kind of like, yeah, we talked about, like, Kevin tried to own it the best. I thought he was like, I think the conversation in the Expedia room was like, let's get a Gino, right? And everyone's like, you know, he was just like kind of trying to own up to it and saying, yeah, I didn't vote for you in the end because it seemed like something was going awry.
Yeah, he was just trying to make it look like he was a go-along number. And he wants to continue to look like he's weak in the house when he's actually really strong. Right. That's kind of his game.
But Kevin has the ultimate defense when it comes. Like, if Gino goes and says, Kevin, you were in that room and you were debating about voting for me about flipping. And then goes, yeah, I told you that we had conversations, but ultimately nothing was decided. And it's like, well, why did Marty and one other person voted? And he could have simply gone, if Marty honestly did not want to get you out, if he said no, it would have shut it down in that room. He didn't. It didn't get shut down. So Marty's telling you half truths. And all you have to do is muddy the water enough, And you can already see Gino does not trust Marty at all.
No, he shouldn't really.
Right?
Why would he?
That's all the doubt you need to have. Like, the dude is totally untrustworthy. The dude, like, I'm like, I would go, where's the spatula? Where's the spatula around this dude? Because he's flip-flopping all the time.
He's like a toxic Big Brother player. I mean, he's the type of player you don't want to align with because he's going to blow up your alliance, then try to, like, he's like a Tony. He's like a Tony version of Big Brother. But the thing is, he doesn't have I don't think he has enough charm to get to the end playing that way in this version of Big Brother Canada.
He's too concerned about the how things look to Canada, which I don't understand. I don't.
Yeah, like, well, he's gonna go back to small town New Brunswick, and I don't think it's. I guess it will be big there, where he is, but I don't think most of Canada's gonna go.
It's so amazing now, like with these reality TV shows, that I find when they first started, nobody cared about the reputation because you went home, there was no social media, and you could, you were in small town or whatever, and you went, and when you came back on the show, it was just for the show. And now because of social media, it's like everyone is so more hyper focused on their image and their brand and their
long-term value of that.
Yeah.
But with the thought process, it just weakens their brand technically because like Dr. Will played and even Dan played one of the most sly, backstabbing, I'm gonna lie to your face, I'm gonna bounce as many checks as I possibly can games, and they're considered legends in the game. And because there was no conversation about the optics or how this would look, or I hope trying to appease people or anything like that. Look at if Kevin ultimately wins, the conversation is going to be like, man, Kevin's such a terrible person. He's not a terrible person. He's just playing a game, right? Yeah. And he's playing the game to the best of his ability, right?
If he doesn't, as long as he doesn't make things personal or anything like that, then he's fine.
You can turn around and see the exact same thing about Herman. Herman is so single focused about bros, strong people to the end.
Oh my God, he's infuriating.
But it's so so obvious, and there's just no kind of subterfuge around it, that if he legit wins, you can at least talk to it about being a pretty clean, straightforward game and not wishy-washy, like worrying about optics. Like, honestly, I feel like if this game, like, to get this game to where some of these players want, there should be, like, in the diary room, like a PR team there to kind of coach them and kind of look at the optics for their moves before they make it, because I feel like they're doing that internally in their head. They're like, I don't know, is Canada gonna like me doing this, or is this gonna play well? It's like, what's gonna happen to my brand? Am I gonna get a shoe deal or a business deal? I want to do commercials. I want to be a Young and the Restless. Like,
is that what Marty's thinking?
Marty's like, beachcombers? Is that still a thing?
I will work with Global.
I have enough of this. The only reason why I stayed in here to
Get back at them.
Get back!
to get back at them. Love it. I mean, with him, it's just like, was he get back at who? Because they didn't go through with the flip. Is that what he's really?
He
mad
thought
about?
that in Marty's mind in this episode, he got set up by by Betty and Josh in particular. I don't think he blames Kevin, but I think he thinks that that this was some kind of trick to get Marty to vote against Gino.
Yes.
And
it was a trap. He refers to it as a trap, that his mind was straight, and they pulled him into the Expedia room. And then when he retells the story throughout the week, he can't really explain what was said,
right?
What was done, who said what. And he's so when people ask him about it, he's like, Betty's the one who tricked me. And they're like, that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean she tricked you? Did she like bonk you over the head and you like woke up in the diary room afterwards? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I voted for. Like everyone keeps on like talking to him about this, and it doesn't make any sense. It's just the logic is completely flawed.
Right. Marty.
Get back at them.
Just keep it.
It's gonna be a keeper.
Get back at them.
That's you know what? That's the line for this season right now. But I think we're gonna get 2 more next episode. I kind of wish next episode is 2 hours, honestly.
The fact that this ended on a cliffhanger, I think we need to address, because you know, like we tune in 3 times a week to check the show out, and they don't even tell us the result here. They spent a lot of time tonight just recapping that vote, and I think it was an important part of the story of all this. And then we get maybe they could have cut the hula hoop competition down. That took up quite a bit.
Yeah, that was a big chunk of the episode.
After a couple of rounds, you're just like, just kind of show us who got it in.
They liked it. I actually thought it was actually one of the better competitions to watch on TV, actually, because I think they did it well with like when they tossed the hula hoop or whatever, they had to get, you know, they showed you on the screen who was in. You know, I actually thought it was well done production wise.
Survivor,
because that could have been super. It could have been super confusing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they really enjoyed the competition, showing it off, and it was kind of cool.
I didn't know whose hoop was who though.
That was the problem. I think they should have made each hula hoop glow, like, or have some sort of tape on it that was like, you know, a certain black light color or whatever, and make it like pop out, like, and then you could have actually seen like, oh, okay, there's Kevin, there's, you know, whoever's Betty's there,
corresponding, like they would on Survivor, like you would know whose is what.
Yeah, I mean, how did they know? Did they walk up and see their name on it?
I don't know. It would be hard to see. They talked about how dark it was in that room.
I would imagine their name was on the hula hoop. How else would they know when they threw it?
Yeah. There's the other 2 things that confused me about that competition. One, Summer goes out first. And then like Summer gives like this diary room, like, oops, I'm out. Oh well, or something like that. And then Summer's not on the bench for like the rest of the competition, like where everybody's kind of like, you know.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I don't know where Summer goes, but Summer's not there for a lot
of
winter. It was winter, yeah, in the hula hoop land, and it didn't work. I was like, okay, where did she go? That was weird. And the other thing was Herman talking about his pit stains.
Right,
he was sweating. Look, okay, I can kind of understand that because the adrenaline of the vote and then going into the chain or the safety competition, going into the chain. And then like the other vote is like thing after thing after thing. Your adrenaline's just pumping high, right? He probably has, and he didn't probably, you know, properly deodorize earlier.
There was no pits really to speak of. It was just like a weight cut off the sleeve kind of shirt.
Maybe he's a sweater.
He must be a sweater. It wasn't like he was showing. And if he was, it's okay. We understand people sweat. Some
people don't want to be showing up sweating on.
He's self-conscious about it. He seems self-conscious, and he brought it up.
He doesn't want to reek of too much effort.
There you go. But he does. You know, I think Herman is one of these guys who's always trying to like impress you, right? He's always trying to like get you to
race you to the corner.
Yeah, he's willing to do anything it takes.
I'm willing to offer a 30-minute massage for anyone who can find my water bottle.
How?
That's so good on the point.
And then, like, I think it was like Moose was like, "Really? Are you serious?" Or maybe it was Gino. I can't remember who said it, but there was a lot of guys who were like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Yeah, they must be craving that big time in there in the Big Brother house." Yeah, the competition was good, but then just after that now Marty gets the power, and then I don't know. What happens? He's like, I'm not happy to have the power because I think his mind is racing after this vote, and he's one of these 2 votes, and he's lied about it. Now he's got to figure out how to move around it. It's all about Gino again, and Gino's still here, but he's got to, like, who wants to see my HOH room? He has to do all that. He has to go to Wendy's. I like his like
Jacey-Lynne.
With Jacey-Lynne, he takes Jacey-Lynne to try to mend some fences there, I guess, because he's always, I don't know, like Gino has this spell over everyone in the house. I have Gino in the draft, guys, and I don't get it. I don't understand his like.
He's like, why isn't my guy God?
He's
he's playing a little bit. I'm seeing a lot of Boston Rob in Gino with the way he's able to be like the most obvious threat in the house, but he's able to convince everybody that like and intimidate them a little bit. Like, hey, what you doing? Like,
Are you coming for
hey,
me?
don't be evicting me. Oh, I want to know where those votes lie. He's kind of doing a little bit of that, and so I just think it's who he is. I think he's the tallest guy in the house. He's the most probably athletic guy in the house, and he's definitely like a huge threat.
He can't even sleep with the light off, Jeff. He's afraid of the dark.
Right, and he didn't win this challenge. I mean, Marty is pretty good at these challenges. He's won a bunch of these vetoes and HOHs.
I wonder if he's like part-time at a carnival.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe it's just part of being a Acadian. You just play a lot of parlor games, and
Yeah,
you just get that would make sense actually. But
right, yeah. I don't know. He's preoccupied and he's hung up on the wrong things. I think largely in terms of how he's playing the game and which players he allows to gives power to, like Gino. I think he's got this obsession with Gino for some reason.
He's got an obsession with the way it looks. Like as far like he's my French guy. We have a connection. I don't want to betray like the French culture. I think a little bit is going like I think that's kind of like on his mind. I don't know for sure, but it just seems like that. Like that's kind of like the connection they have, and he doesn't want to be seen kind of doing that because I don't know. Maybe the French community gives him a bit of heck for it. I don't know.
Jaemeel, what do you make of the whole Gino Marty dynamic and what's going on with it?
He thinks that Marty, like Gino's his dude. He's the one who he constantly speaks French with, even in front of other people, which I think is kind of rude. Where he just like, I don't want to talk to you right now, Kevin, who's in the room. I'm just going to say something to Gino, so I'm going to say it in French. Right?
Yeah.
No.
I'm not a big fan of that. That being said, he seems more comfortable just expressing himself to Gino. And like Gino, I don't know if Gino did something in his past life where he saved Marty and Marty feels eternally in his debt, because it seems like that where I don't know if he can play this game with Gino. And if someone told me that in 2 weeks Marty evicts Jacey-Lynne and then the next night dresses up in a wig and some leggings, I wouldn't be surprised, because it seems
To get back at them.
to get back at them.
To get back at Jacey-Lynne for stealing Gino from me in this game.
That is a good point, Dave. That is probably who he should be trying to get out, using someone else's HOH. That would make the most sense for Marty to do.
Because he can't do it directly, right?
I think, he's not going to be able to team back up with Gino if he does that. But I think if somebody else takes out Jacey-Lynne, he could team, like, they'll have nobody but each other. You know what I mean?
Maybe. Like, I don't know. Gino was kind of clear tonight that he's like, I don't trust Marty anymore. And he's,
he shouldn't.
Can you blame him? Like,
No. But the thing is, like, that's like saying, like, in Survivor, the most recent winter season where Tony won again, and then he betrays Sarah. He still gets Sarah to align with him right to the end. Like, it can be done. But I just don't think Marty's Tony. I don't think Marty has enough savviness for the game. Like, really, I think he gets power. He has no idea what to do with it.
Right. He's overwhelmed by the pressure of it. He kind of expresses that in the episode.
It's like, dude, don't win. Like, like you would have been gold this week had you not won.
Even with this whole vote, like, you wouldn't, like, okay, who came second place? Josh?
Yeah.
So if Josh had been the HOH, what would Josh have done?
I don't think he's putting Marty up.
No, I don't think so. Right?
No.
Like,
You'd probably put Moose and Herman.
even though he's kind of working with those guys.
And that would have been the best thing for Marty, but nope.
Yeah. So, I think Marty's that's another big mistake. He didn't read this right. He could have been power, but he didn't trust Josh because he thought Josh and Betty were screwing him over. Like they were setting him up and to look like an idiot in front of Canada. He can't have it.
So how is he looking like an idiot and the other one person who voted, whether it be Helena, Betty, Kevin, or Josh, why are they feeling like they look like a fool? Why is he internalizing this vote so much and taking it personal? He's taking it more personal than Gino, who got voted for. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for you on it. Like, yeah, it's a really why Marty's reacting in this way. It's hard to kind of figure out. It's unusual. It's
Yes,
unique.
That's the perfect word to say it.
So I guess that's fun. But yeah, it's in terms of Big Brother play. Yeah, like have you ever seen a person drive their game off a cliff like this? Like this was something else. Like,
what would have happened if Pow Pow won challenges and was in the game longer?
What a different BB16 we would have had.
I suck. Right. Yeah, like Pow Pow, you suck. I know.
The other thing that when does Marty just like in the episode is like, I'm just gonna tell everybody I was one of the votes. He doesn't. Does he? I think he knows Helena is the other one, but he doesn't tell.
He doesn't know for sure.
So Helena hasn't even admitted that to Marty then.
Helena's smart.
Yeah, Helena's.
Why would you give this dude any ammunition at all?
But people always seem to know because Summer was able to read Helena in this.
Yeah, because she was staring her down.
Yeah, she's
but
at the
same time, Summer's smart enough to know Kevin wouldn't get caught with his pants down. Neither would Josh. Betty is straight up too obvious to lie. Right? She's dressed straight obvious.
Yeah.
Like Betty, there's no subterfuge with Betty. If Betty doesn't like someone, you see it on her face, right? So it's not Betty. So it would make logical sense. It's Helena. Plus Helena's body language, mind you.
Right. Yeah. Well, Helena's eyebrows and she's very expressive, Helena.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not that hard to read her. I think if you're looking for it, you can find it. So hey, good on Summer though. I like when I see players being able to read those things too. I think that that's a skill that should be sort of commended, and it's another game skill that gets overlooked.
But to fair, that's result oriented thought process. How many times, like, there's probably all the house guests saying random stuff like, I think it was Josh. I saw that he looked at me this way. And they don't include it because it doesn't play into the part of the narrative.
Right.
So,
but it could be true or it might not
stumbled upon the truth with no confirmation if it's actually true or not.
Right. At the end of the day, it's just Summer's opinion. But it happens to be correct.
Yes.
Right?
Narratively speaking, for us, it is correct.
Right. So I don't know. Like, you guess the right answer. I'll give you some credit there, Summer. Yeah. But then, yeah, just this whole thing where Marty just melts down here in the end of the episode, and we don't get to know who the nominees are. Now we're going to talk about it in spoilers. I don't know yet who was nominated. Jaemeel knows.
I know.
Do you know the spoilers?
Me? No.
So Jeff and I are going to find out shortly who are the two nominees. And because it's kind of crazy to me that they left this where they did. Like I guess I don't know who. Do you get back at them? Who's them? Who specifically?
Josh and Betty.
Will they be the nominees? Okay, we're gonna find out.
I think so. Personally, I do think that they will be the nominees.
Okay, that's a good theory.
You want me to tell you? I'm not going to tell you what happened, but do you want me to reveal? Okay, so nominations already happened. Veto players have been picked. Veto has been played, like the game. We have a veto winner, and the veto ceremony hasn't been done yet. That's where we're at right now.
Right. Well, we're gonna get into the spoiler section. We can't reveal it yet because
but I just want to let you know this is up to what will be revealed in the spoiler section. Those portions, who the nominees are, who the veto players were, who won the veto and what direction we're going to be going in terms of the veto, which will be tomorrow.
Okay.
On the feeds tomorrow will be occurring. Mm-hmm.
See, I'm just gonna see if we're gonna talk about it all.
Yep.
Okay, kind of working. All right. We're gonna get into it, guys, shortly because I have to know. I can't believe we'll find. We're gonna find out Wednesday. Screw that. I want to know now. So if you don't want to know, then take off. But I'm sure there's nothing too much you're gonna learn. That there's always more to be seen on the show. And you can get just as a rich and immersive experience by staying with us.
Folks, even if you know what happens, and I'll tell you, all right, it's still going to be worth watching it. If they show even half of what happened, it's going to be so worth it.
Right. All right. We're going to get into it. If you're leaving us now, tune in Wednesday. We'll be back and on Thursday for the next eviction. And check out our other channels, but we'll plug those again at the end of the spoiler section. Okay. Let's.
You've all seen the episodes. We've heard our recaps. You know our channels: Super Mater Brothers, Live Long and Podcast, Hellbound Podcast, Trivial Debates, X-Rated.
Let's talk about fighting games.
Let's talk about fighting game. You think I was going to leave that out with Super Smash Bros. And Seth?
Super Smash Bros.
And Paranoia.
There's no way I was going to leave them out.
No, right? You can't leave them out.
We're going to do if you don't want to hear the spoilers, skip to the very end, go straight into our plugs so you can hear that. Okay?
All right. That's how it goes. All right, here we go. Playing the music, starting the ticker.
So, oh my gosh. Betty and Josh obviously have been put up. What was his reasoning? Revenge.
Get them back.
He literally says revenge, to get back at them. Why? Revenge with a capital REVENGE. Revenge. He says it like 5 times.
Okay, but is he mad about the fact that the plan didn't work?
Well,
he's mad because he looks bad. That's all.
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's also the fact that, like, he, in his mind, when he voted Gino to go home, Gino was going home, and then all of a sudden he's not. And I think that's the part he really doesn't like. Okay. You know,
right? So, who do you think he thinks is the mastermind?
Of I would imagine
Josh. This guy thinks it's Josh. He can't.
Betty? He thinks Betty's the mastermind?
Oh, that's not good. That's very bad for his game because he should not tell anybody that.
Oh, oh my God!
He's told everyone.
Oh yes, he told everyone.
No.
He first says Josh. Josh talks to him, so he's like, "Okay, it was Betty." So when I was providing the example, when people are asking him what happened, right, and trying to like see his train of thought, they're like, I don't even know what happened. They brought me into the room. They just dragged me there. All of a sudden, they're telling me vote. And they're like, who's they? What exactly did they say? It was Betty. Betty tricked me. It was Betty. Betty's the mastermind. And they're like, what? How did you get from that? There's no progression in the story. You just literally jumped to a conclusion of some sort. And it's not just like he had that one conversation one time where he goes to that length to just pin it on Betty. He does it every single time when he talks to Helena, when he talks to Kevin, when he talks to Josh, when he talks to Gino, when he talks to Jacey-Lynne, when he talks to Summer. Over and over again, he just jumps over what happened because he can't remember, right? He's an unreliable narrative on a show that is recorded 24/7.
Right. That you can't really escape. You can't really escape all this, or try to rewrite history. A lot of players try to. A lot of players go into this house and then they start to believe their own bullshit in some ways, and they get kind of hung up on it. Even when they get out, it's like then they start hearing other people's opinions, but they typically come back to what they always kind of imagine.
He freely admits that he does not remember what happened. but yet he refuses to hear anything other than Betty was responsible at all.
All right. So
So
Betty and Josh went up. Okay.
Yes,
For revenge. Okay.
for revenge.
But what happened next? Like, how did
So
it develop from there?
he also believes, and people also believe in the house, Herman, that Betty has a power. What power? Don't know. She just has a power.
Power.
So they're like,
Insanity.
well, we got to flush out the power too. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Josh initially was the target. Then it's Betty. So then conversations happen. Kevin does some work, right? Summer does some work. Whole bunch of people do some work. I should go specifically with Summer. Summer and Marty have a conversation where Marty is looking at Summer and is angry at her because Marty doesn't believe that Summer has his best interests in mind, and says that Jessica said during Wendy's that Summer was trying to pitch to Jessica that to get Marty, which isn't true, right? At all.
Right.
But that does not work for Marty's narrative in his mind. So they're having a conversation, and Summer's like, Marty, I did not say that. And she's like, Jess says you're lying. Jess says you're lying. Jess says you're lying. Jess says you're lying. And like Summer's just trying, like, no, I was there. I did not say anything. And it just kept going on. The argument got so intense that, like, it could be the reason, but the end result were feeds were done for the day, like until late in the evening. And then when feeds came back on, Summer said, I'm sorry, y'all. The argument got too heated. It got so heated that Winter had to come out. Right? That's what she said. So you have that. So let's run the playback now. He has a loud ass argument with Kevin. He has a loud ass argument with Summer. Now, Betty is like, this dude is insane. This dude does not trust me. I'm going to be as annoyingly positive as possibly I can. Just so, like, I don't want to rub him the wrong way. I'm just going to, be positive.
Betty can't do that.
So,
like, does Betty not know thyself, Betty? Right?
To thy own self be true.
To your own self be true, So
when I'm ready to party, B money comes out.
Yeah. So Marty's sitting at the table, and Betty's in the kitchen. And you just see Marty turns his head and sees Betty in the background. And Betty just smiles. Smiles, and it just looks so creepy. And then Marty looks away, and the smile just immediately drops. No one buys it at all. It is so obvious. So it looks like Betty is going to be the one evicted. But Kevin starts making moves. And we got a veto draw. And in the veto, it is Gino, Kevin, Betty, Josh, and was it JC? I think it might have been JC.
Okay, a lot of the people who were in that group that was going to maybe evict Gino but didn't, except for Jacey-Lynne. I guess she would be the.
Oh, Gino.
Gino's in the veto. Okay.
Gino, JC, Betty, Josh. It's 6 people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Five or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kevin and one other person. I think it might have been. I don't know. Out of those 5, only of the 5 is important. Who do you think won power veto? I should ask you 2 questions. Who do you think, and who'd be the most juiciest?
The juiciest. Okay, who I think it is because I got to think that the trend of like the one of the nominees took themselves down continues. So I'm going to theorize that Josh won the veto. But I think the juiciest thing to happen is Kevin wins the veto.
Jeff, do you have any opinions on this?
I would say the juiciest thing to happen would be like if Gino won the veto and then basically controlled Marty's HOH. And I could see that happening.
Sorry, Jeff. Dave is closer.
Okay.
Because we got some juice. Kevin won.
Kevin!
Kevin won. So Kevin starts putting in some work, right? And Josh has more or less mended fences with Marty. So Betty is still the focus. Betty is there for him.
Betty.
As long as she gets out the door, he will have his revenge.
So he's going to use that veto on Betty?
Oh, no, on Josh.
Oh.
But he's only doing that if it's advantageous and no one else part of their group.
Who would Kevin want to go up? I guess is the question. Instead,
And who would Marty want to go up?
We already know that it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, but if somebody plays the veto, say, and it's Kevin plays the veto on Josh, who does Marty put up?
I don't want to answer this question because I just honestly want to get to my expert.
Well, if you want Betty to go, I think the best person to put up is probably Summer.
Yeah, probably. Summer or maybe
You
Jacey-Lynne.
can't put up Jacey-Lynne.
No.
Because
Herman? What about Herman?
because that would be a betrayal of Gino's trust.
Herman?
I forgot that Gino has all this power.
Yes. So, okay. Kevin talks to someone. I'm going to do this a little bit out of order. And we'll give Jeff a second.
Yeah. I'm just going to mute him for a second. Oh. It was really hurt.
Oh, yeah, while he's working on that.
There was pain.
Okay,
Right.
so Kevin wants to save both Josh and Betty. But he needs to do it in a way where the numbers on his side doesn't get reduced. Because if Helena leaves, that's a loss of their numbers. If Josh leaves, that's a loss of their numbers. If Betty leaves, Josh leaves, loss of their numbers, right?
Because the other side is Herman and Moose and whatever.
Herman has been making a lot of inroads with Gino and Jace because they want the strong person alliance.
Strong person alliance, right? Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have those four people with possibly who's on the outside. You have Summer, really, who's kind of on the outside, can either go either way. Marty, who isn't trusted by Moose or Herman, really.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't really trusted by Gino. We know that not really trusted by Gino and Jacey-Lynne, right? And then plus what he just did, can you really trust him if you're Kevin, Betty, Helena, and Josh? So he's kind of like a free agent. So you have four people on one side, and you have four people on the other, right? And you have these two pieces kind of floating in the middle. Now, if, let's say, Betty goes, that means your numbers are down to 3, plus Summer, plus Marty floating in the middle, those two floating in the middle, and then you have a group of 4. A group of 4 that can win competitions. Doesn't really look good for if we're saying that we're trying to keep it balanced with Kevin group being one side. Now,
okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so you're talking about like Kevin, Helena,
Josh.
Marty,
No, Josh, not Marty, because remember Marty's floating in the middle, because neither side can really trust him.
Okay.
Right, and Summer.
Right. Okay, so who goes up? Who goes up instead of Josh here? Is it
We gotta get to it. So they're looking at, okay, who can we put up? We can't put up Gino. Summer tries to like talk to Kevin and go, maybe we should just try to convince Marty to put up Gino. And Kevin's like, don't you dare say that to him because he will freak out on you and he
Yes.
will put you up as the replacement. And
Yes,
then it'll be pointless, right?
Yes, Kevin's absolutely right.
Don't do that. Mum. Mum is the word, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So talking amongst the group, he goes, okay, if we can put up Herman and Herman is gone, that kind of Moose is kind of loose.
The Moose is loose and he can sing all day.
Right? And because he's the one who's really driving that group forming together. He keep on trying to form that strong group. So if we get rid of Herman, that takes out a real big obstacle from, us being the only strong faction in comparison to everyone else. They're kind of loose free agents. So it's like, it's either that or Moose, right? Moose is the consolation prize just in case we can't get it. So,
but I think you're smarter to go after Herman instead of Moose if you're going to do that.
But if you can't get Herman, Moose would be an acceptable substitute.
Yes.
At least your numbers will be 4, right? Or 3-3,
right? Right. But Herman's more likely to put that alliance together. I think that's
Correct.
why he'd be the more advantageous target.
So what we also remember from previous episodes is that Marty promised both Moose and Herman safety. Right? Moose also promised.
When did he do that?
Previous time around.
When he was swinging the hula hoop, or was it before that?
Before that.
Okay.
But it's there. They might recap it. I don't know if they even care because possibly Marty's just going to disregard that deal. At the same time, he also made a deal with Moose. Also made a deal with Marty, saying that he would be willing to be put up as a pawn, no questions asked, if he gets saved.
Right.
Right. So Marty's like, hey, wait, Moose said he would do that for me too. So if I'm trying to get Betty out and Josh comes down, I can put Moose up because Moose already agreed, no questions asked, to be a pawn. Right? So there, Kevin tries talking to Marty. And Kevin is putting into Marty's head, hey, Gino's not with you, right? He's really, like, Herman is really pushing, and Herman won't choose you over Gino. No. So you need to get rid of Herman. And then Marty's like, I don't know if Gino's going to accept it. He's like, look, ask Gino. If Gino says no, that means Gino is with Marty. Sorry, Gino's with Herman, right? And he's like, Gino won't choose Herman over me. But I need to ask his permission to do such a plan. He's like, go ahead and do it. So in this respect, Kevin trapped Marty. Because what's the outcome? Gino says, yes, you can put up Herman. And then he has permission to put up Herman. Or he says, no, don't put up Herman. And then in Marty's mind, it's like, wait, they're together.
Right. This is a brilliant move. This is smart stuff.
Look, to be fair, it isn't that brilliant of a move. It's just when you're playing with people of a lower intellectual ability.
I still give credit because if that there's still some subtleties you have to navigate there, and knowing knowing Marty well enough to know how Marty will react. Just in credit to his earlier read where he's like, if you go and tell Marty that, Marty will freak out and put you up. That's exactly right. Yeah. So like, I think that you got to, even though it's maybe not like the greatest secret ever kept, Marty's a kind of a wild card. And if you can use that, good on you. I think that's a skill, a big brother skill in itself, right? It's just kind of launching certain types of players at people.
So Dave, what do you think was the outcome?
Herman goes up. Herman goes up next to Betty.
No, what did Marty ask Gino? What was Gino's response?
Oh, why? I don't know if Gino would be that loyal to Herman. So I don't know if he would be against it or not. But if of the two options, I would have to say Gino would probably say, I don't know about that. Like, you know, that's a third nominee you're putting up. Either way, you got to put up a third nominee, but like to put up.
Well, technically, Kevin won't use the veto if someone advantageous isn't put up.
Okay, so Kevin's only going to right. So
what's
like
the point of putting up
because
Summer?
So
if
if
you really
Marty
want to get out,
if Marty was smart, what he would do is be like, "Oh, I'm going to put up Summer. I'm going to, you know."
And then Kevin wouldn't. He would rather just lose Betty.
Right, and then he wouldn't play that. If Marty, this is kind of like I'm starting to realize Marty's really not a good Big Brother player as far as when he's in power. He can get into power very easily, and I think he actually plays pretty well socially and when he doesn't have power. But when he has power, he's really bad.
Yes,
he doesn't realize that you do not need to pay the checks that you wrote when you have power. So write as many checks when you don't have power, right? And then when you have power, no one could come after you. Just make sure that you situate yourself in a good enough placement that you at least are able to walk away fine. Like Gino didn't have that great of an HOH, but he was able to walk away because he did enough, right, to not, have that much, blowback about it. The problem with everyone else is they didn't have that same type of mentality. That being said, Jessica almost survived. What would have happened if Jessica was still in this game
instead of Gino? It would be a very different house.
Because she would have to be loyal to Kevin and Marty and them.
Well, that was why I think Marty and Kevin really wanted this plan to go through, because I think I think Marty knew that down the road, me and Gino it's not gonna be a final three, or like I've already betrayed him once, and then he goes and does it again here, but he didn't expect it to work out that way. I think he thought the vote was actually going to work out. And then Betty and Josh did kind of screw him. They decided not to do the vote. And then, so it should have been Kevin, Helena, Marty, and those two. And, with the 5 votes. And both Betty and Josh kind of went, no, we're not doing it now, because it was really Betty. Betty kind of did screw it up for, and why did she do that?
Because she couldn't reconfirm things with Marty, because he was kind of not making eye contact. He was looking down, and he maybe a little sketch.
All they had to say is just watch my hand. If it's a fist, we're voting. If it's an open hand, we're not.
Yeah, but I do lay a lot of the blame on Betty, because I think Betty just caused a lot of anxiety there, and they could have maybe pulled this off.
It was also a tight. They had a little bit no time to do so.
Yeah, I don't know. In those, they were. We've seen people do more with less time in Big Brother than they had in that Expedia room.
It's just the rooms are just so far away, and they're so big, right? That it's just so hard to do. Whereas you can huddle into a small room, have a quick conversation, and then you're right there to vote.
Speaking of which, there was you even see in the recap in the big top of the episode where you see, I think it's Josh and Kevin pass, and he's like, "Are we doing it or no? We're not doing it." Right? And I was like, "Are they allowed to talk in the hallway when they're in the diary, going to the votes?"
You can do whatever you want to, because they mute it for the most part.
You can make signals like that about what you're voting.
They're doing secret handshakes all the time. Why can't they? Until production says you can do it, you do what you can.
On the US version, I don't feel like. Okay, are they able to talk during the vote?
No.
That's what I thought. I thought they weren't allowed to talk during
the vote. I always thought you're not supposed to. I thought the Canadian version worked the same.
I don't think so anymore, or something's changed, or I don't know. Maybe it was always that way.
Until they tell you that you can do something.
Right, but I feel like on the States, especially when it was live evictions,
they would never talk, never.
They don't really talk, but maybe on the taped evictions, they do.
Maybe it's a little more liberal.
Yeah, maybe there's a different rule if it's not a live eviction or something.
We're just a couple steps away from live tribals.
Right.
Could just be a difference between CBS and
Don't go through that door and vote for Josh. Don't you dare.
Right, because I thought that was kind of I don't know. at the end of the day, 3 players on that side of the room got cold feet, and the other 2 were kind of blindsided by that because they didn't read that the people they thought they were voting with got cold feet. They weren't able to read that in the moment as well. I think and Helena and Marty being those 2, and it's not their fault, really. I don't think, like, maybe a little bit, but I think it's just unfortunate. And then Marty kind of just dug more of a hole every step of the way he went along here. Okay, so ultimately, Herman and Betty are the nominees, Jaemeel, and Herman be the target.
For Marty, Betty is still the target.
But for the house,
for a side of the house, yes.
Because why would, if Betty's still the target, then why put up Herman?
Betty has to leave for revenge.
Then Then why does Marty put up Herman? It makes no sense.
Because he has to put up someone.
But Herman's a bigger target than Betty for the house.
Betty has a secret power.
Betty does not have a secret power.
Dave, you're trying to fight this with logic. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Right. They've kept Gino and Josh both on the block on 2 different vote outs and voted out an inferior threat. Yes. Like, I mean, this house votes by emotion, not by logic. Yeah, it's very true.
Who's voting? Okay, who gets to vote here? Let's figure this out. Because the idea that they're gonna vote on Betty over Herman is ludicrous.
No, that's what Marty thinks will happen.
Marty doesn't know what's going. Marty's an idiot. All right, let's okay. Gino, which way would he vote on this?
He would vote out Betty.
Okay, that's one for Betty. What about Helena?
If she goes with Kevin, yeah, Herman.
Okay, so let's say then Jacey-Lynne, she'll vote with Gino. So she'll vote. So Josh.
You think he would vote on Herman? He just got saved off the block.
Yeah.
Why not though?
Kevin will vote with Helena. So, and then you got Moose and Summer, who will definitely vote out Betty over Herman.
Summer is not going to vote out Betty.
So, but what will Moose do?
It doesn't matter. It's 5-4 vote.
For Herman to go.
Yeah.
Only if they have Josh.
Only if they have Josh. Josh would be the
Which they do have Josh.
What do we say about those? Like, you can tell which ones are the squealers, and that one's a squealer.
I think he's more of a flipper. I think he would flip quick.
So Kevin talked to Josh and brought up the idea about Herman. And he's like, full disclosure, Herman and I have a final 2. But fast forward rewind to before they had the conversation, Herman and Kevin had a conversation. And Herman was fishing to find out if Kevin was going to use the veto. And Herman goes, it would be best for the house if you just kept the nominations the same. So when Kevin and Josh have the conversation, he's like, did you know Herman pushed for nominations to be the same? So didn't really want to save you, or didn't think it was worth saving you. Thoughts in the head, rational people. They're like, and Kevin and Josh have a good repertoire. I don't even know.
I don't think it's repertoire.
No, repertoire is
rapport. I think it's
rapport.
The word.
Yes, thank you, Dave, with words. Great job.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin butters Josh up so much. You saw a little bit in the video I sent you, and it does more so now. I think they have the votes to get at Herman.
I hope so. Because but this is a great week. I gotta tell you, because for Herman and Betty to be on the block, this is like best case scenario, because I I would like to see one of those two go, and I'm going to get my wish because I think Betty's the one I would think I'd rather go in some ways because
no. Now, let's say Herman does leave. What happens to the house is you have one of the biggest threats for HOH gone.
Off the board, yeah.
Yeah. So you have Gino and Jacey-Lynne, right? As one side of the house. Moose has really no connective tissue. Summer, no real connective tissue. Marty, no real connective tissue. Marty and Gino being on the same side, I don't even know like what would compel Gino to ever team up with him again. And then you have a side that has Josh, Helena, Kevin as a unit.
Right. Yeah, and I would really like to see that trio go far. If that was like the final three, I'd be like, okay, this was interesting. How these?
You mean it would be Josh versus Kevin, and who's taking Victoria, Helena?
Helena's the less impressive one of the trio, but I think that Josh and Kevin working together and using Helena as kind of a number more than anything.
Yeah,
right, makes them unique. An unlikely pair as well. I think I wouldn't have predicted.
Sorry, and I'm missing one person. Betty also would be there. So that would
every
be
week
four
that goes
people.
by, yeah.
That would be four people on one side.
If Betty, assuming Betty would stay, then Betty, as a number, it's like I still think I wouldn't want her on my side. I would rather be on the side that didn't have Betty if I had my choice. But because I just think she's unstable. I don't think she's worth working with. I think she's too.
She seems like there's tremors with Betty, as opposed to the big geyser that is Marty. It just spouts
Marty's,
every hour.
Yeah, he's like a big volcano. He's a whole other kind of issue. But Betty is just playing with I don't even know what. But just the way she went off at Helena in that conversation, and then calling her a liar tonight, and all that stuff. Huh?
She was a liar.
Was she?
Technically, Helena was a liar.
Yeah, no, I don't think.
But Kevin said it wasn't.
Yeah, but he's wrong. He was also lying.
Yeah, Kevin was lying.
He was very convincing.
Well, that's the thing.
The great thing about Kevin.
Well, that's the thing. But Jameel's right. The house should be realizing Betty is not a good liar. Jacey-Lynne called her oh, such a liar, bitch, or whatever she called her tonight. And it's Jacey-Lynne, have you met Betty? She's not that good.
Jacey-Lynne should not be throwing any words at anyone because there's no one in the house doing less than her. The only reason why she's even gets airtime is because she's in the same scenes as Gino. That's it. She does nothing in terms of working with other people, working on any side of the house. It's people always coming to her. And then what does she do? She only does what Gino says to do.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just here for Gino. She's here for showmance. And when that's over, that's over. I think I'm sure she would like to win, but
she can leave the house and just have Gino have a sock puppet. Just a sock puppet with hey Jacey-Lynne, do you have anything important to say? Whatever you want, Gino. Thanks.
As long as the sock puppet
out of frame,
he'll be fine with it. Yeah. Whew. Okay. Well, okay. So there's a lot to break down on Wednesday. We're going to be back to talk about the rest of it. Is there anything else you wanted to mention from the?
No, I'm just excited for what next chapter we get.
I'll be pulling that revenge sound clip. That will be at the top of the next episode. I got to make a mental note.
Have this summer conversation and have revenge, please.
Okay, the summer conversation. It's now winter or whatever.
No. The Jessica said you lied. Jessica said you lied. Jessica said you lied. Jessica said you lied. Jessica said you lied.
That. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Remind me of, I'm sure. Yeah. I got to remember to pull that one, but the revenge, it sounds like it's a revenge is a dish best served cold in winter. So we're going to get it all.
Honestly, I should send you the we'll talk afterwards. Yeah. Go ahead. Do your thing, Dave.
All right, let's close the show out. So thanks for being with us. Also, if you don't know, we also cover Survivor here on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting. We'll be back on Wednesday to talk about episode 5, I believe it is, of Survivor 42. as that season's marching along, and we'll be, of course, doing a quick check-in about the episode on Wednesday, and then on Thursday the next eviction on Big Brother Canada 10. Who will it be? Will it be Herman? Will it be Betty? It could go anyway. There's still 4 days from now until then, so a lot can change. And what else? Also on this network, we cover Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. If you didn't know, most recently we talked about Hawkeye because that's the most recent series that wrapped over on the MCU. But there's been a new show that's come out, Moon Knight. And they just dropped their first episode. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but when that whole series, is finished streaming and being released, we'll be sitting down to talk about that here on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting. And I really enjoyed the first episode. I thought it was really different. And
he still hasn't called Dracula a nerd, so I'm a little bit disappointed.
We're building to it. We can't do it in the first episode. I understood that, but there's a humor to the show. I think that's fun. Jeff, have you seen it?
No.
Of what?
Jeff hasn't seen it. Why are you asking that question?
Moon Knight.
Oh no.
Asking that question.
I think you're gonna like it.
Okay, well, I'll have to check it out. Is it out? It's already out.
One episode.
First episode.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Yeah, check it out with Oscar Isaac. He's he has a British accent, and it's very interesting. And then also, we're gonna be talking about Ozark, Jeff, in the near future.
Yeah, that's coming out. Did you see the trailer?
I saw like a poster where
Oh, dude.
I haven't watched the trailer yet though.
Trailer is explosive.
Okay, so there's a trailer coming out. Ozark is the final 7 episodes are coming out this month, and when those, much longer for that to come out, Jeff?
It's April 29th, so like 25 days.
The end of this month. Okay, so it's still like 4 weeks away until we get to see that. But when that does drop, Jeff and I will be sit down and break all that down. And Jaemeel, you're welcome to come too. I don't think you watch Ozark, but
no, I don't.
if you do, you're welcome. If you feel like binging it between now and April 29th.
My dance card is very full.
Yeah, we all have a lot on the go TV wise as well. You should check out our other 2 channels. One's Trivial Debates, a monthly show where we have like a judge and 3 contestants. They argue about movies, TV, sports, and at the end of it, there's a winner. Most recently, we had Max Duda hosting, maybe the worst host ever, is the main consensus. With Jaemeel Robinson, Jody Simpson, Worf Soderbergh. Competing. There will be another edition coming up at the end of April, around that time that Ozark drops. So we got to get that judge and panel together, and then we also have Live Long and Podcast. That's our Star Trek theme channel, movies and TV, where we cover old episodes. We go back, we rewatch them. Like on Monday nights, we talk about Star Trek Enterprise. That was just tonight. I was talking about the episode Acquisition with Adam Woodward and Kevin Millard, the Ferengi episode that had Neelix and Ethan Phillips at least, and Jeffrey Combs and Clint Howard as they were on the Enterprise trying to steal everything from Porthos to the plate on the wall. And then on Tuesday nights, we talk about Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Jeff, tomorrow is at night. We're going to be talking about the Begotten.
So Odo gets his powers back.
Odo gets it. Yeah, well, that's the result. But like, there's a bunch of episodes before that, where he's trying. So we're talking about that tomorrow night, and then on Thursday we're also talking about the newest episode of Star Trek, whatever that is. Right this moment, Picard is in its 2nd season. We're up to 5 episodes in Picard, and we just wrapped Star Trek Discovery season 4, and then on the horizon, Star Trek Strange New Worlds coming our way. Lots of news. That was just as
horse riding galore.
Horse riding and characters we already know, but new takes on them when they were younger. And then as well, we have what's it called? Star Trek Radio Theater, which are. You can tell, like, when I get to the end of my second podcast, I'm like, what do we do here? What's our show? We're gonna be doing Darmok on April 9th, Saturday, 9:30 p.m. Which in kind of honor of First Contact Day, which I believe will be actually tomorrow. Is it April 5th or April 6th? I can never remember. But First Contact Week here on Live Long and Podcast.
First Contact Day will start on April 5th, 2022.
So it's tomorrow.
It's in 1 hour.
It's in 1 hour. We're on the cusp, but we're not doing this on April 5th. We're doing this on April 9th. And so Davin Scalehorn will be playing Jean-Luc Picard, and Adam Woodward playing Dathan. And Jeff's going to be trying to get that transporter working down in engineering. Is Geordie LaForge.
We seem to have a coolant problem here in the transport.
There was no coolant leaks, but there was there's definitely some interference from the alien ship, and we got a great cast coming at you with this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to do it. And then there'll be a full audio drama created afterwards, an edited version with sound effects and background ambiance, and everything else taken out that we don't want. And then as well, check out our friends podcast. We got Let's Talk About Fighting Games with Sam Jerka and Super Smash Bros. Seth, wherever you get your audio podcasts. There's also Michael Chan and Alex Blackburn got the Hellbound podcast where they talk about horror. And then over on Davin, my cousin and yours, Davin and his friend Dave, they talk about Star Trek on Locutors at Trek. They do all kinds of fun things, trivias. They do writers' room pitches. They do the
Debate 9.
Debate 9. They debate things, and they, if you want to hear about some different takes on Star Trek, check out Locutors of Trek with Davin and Dave, as well as Davin's other podcast, X-Men the Animated Series, X-Rated, which he does with his friend Andre. I saw that. I think they're doing something with the Crimson Dynamo next, or something like that. So check out X-Men the Animated Series, X-Rated, and I think that's it, guys. I think that's all we have for tonight. Thanks for being with us, Jaemeel, Jeff. Have a good one. And I need to go back to my unsorted so I can pull the final clip for the night. Oh, do I okay, we're going to do 2 clips. We're going to do the Arissa,
The Sound of the Night.
Yeah, okay. Where's my Arissa's? The sound we should do the Sound of the Night first, and then we'll do Arissa. That's how we're going to do it.
Who will Marty nominate for eviction? And who will win the power of veto? Find out Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern.
And then remember,
And remember, someone is always watching.